What's up? I want to talk about something that really affects our community the most, more than drugs, even more than gang violence, or even hating on one another. It's child abuse. Child abuse is basically something that plagues our community and it affects us in so many ways. I remember growing up and people used to always ask me why I was always mad, why I was always angry, why I was always quiet, why I always kept to myself. Well, because when I was a kid, my mom was married to my younger sister's dad. And, he was cool in the beginning, like most men are. But he had came into our lives when I was probably like maybe 2. Yeah, I was 2. Yeah, I was 2. Going on 3 years old. We lived in a house on Ladera and Los Robles in Pasadena. And I remember as we got older, we ended up moving to a little house on Carlton and what street was that? I can't remember the street offhand. Damn, it's crazy. But anyway, Lincoln, Carlton and Lincoln. That's right. And I just didn't know. As a kid, I just never knew what his problem was. I was just being a kid. And he used to drink these Budweiser beers. Back then, they didn't make them in aluminum cans. They made them in steel cans. And he would have his little 6-pack of beers, and he just used to come in angry all the time, tripping. So I remember like he would just beat on me and my older brother for no reason. Like, for instance, it was like if we left like a smudge of toothpaste on the on the sink, we got our ass beat. If we left one little drop of piss on the toilet seat, we got our ass beat. If we didn't clean out the tub right, we got our ass beat. If we didn't feed the fish when they were supposed to be fed, we got our ass beat. If we didn't wash the dishes right, we got our ass beat. If we didn't feed the birds right, we got our ass beat. If we didn't pick up the toys right, we got our ass beat. If we didn't make up the beds in military style, we got our asses beat. If we didn't come in the house at a certain time to eat dinner or whatever, we got our asses beat. So I just remember all these psychological beatings that we used to take, getting slapped in the face, socked in the head, punched in the chest, hitting the ribs, thrown on the floor, pushed around, pushed down, beat down, over and over and over and over and over again. He used to have me so scared when I was a kid, like when my dad used to come pick me up to take me to McDonald's on Lake. He used to grab me by the arm real hard and say, if you tell your dad anything, I'm going to hurt you more. And I should be so scared. I should be sitting in my dad's Thunderbird. He had a white Thunderbird. And I should be sitting in my dad's car and just quiet, just wouldn't even say nothing, wouldn't even talk. The only time I would talk is when my dad would ask me questions. But, my dad, he was picking up something was wrong with me. But I was so afraid to tell him that I didn't say nothing. So we'd go to McDonald's and then we'd go to some of his friends' houses and hang out together for the day. Then he'd take me home. Then he'd give me, $10 or something like that so I can go, buy me some candy or, buy whatever around the corner at the store on Lincoln. So then I come in the house, and then he grabbed me. You didn't tell your daddy nothing. You didn't tell your daddy nothing, did you? I'll beat your ass right now. You know what I'm saying? And then, then he'd tell me, oh, you go in there and go take a bath. He wouldn't even let us take showers. We had to take baths. Because if we got too much water on the floor in the bathroom, we would get our asses beat. And all that time, my mom was silent. My mom would never say nothing. I never knew why. Back then, she would never say nothing. But maybe because he was working and he was the provider of the house. So I guess back then, women played their role when they was married and the man was the head of the household, that the woman just played the back part in the back and just wouldn't say nothing. So, one day I got upset because next door to us it was a white family, and it was a little white boy. He used to always share his toys with me. So we was playing out there in the front yard, and it was time for him to go in the house. And I had asked him, could I keep one of his toys to play with? So I took the toy, I took it in the house, and I was playing with it in my room. So I guess his mama had came over there and knocked on the door, and he had asked for his toy back. So I ended up giving him his toy back, and then here come my stepdad, tripping, acting a fool, and, oh, you don't be taking nobody's shit, and he took off his belt and started whooping my ass. And back then they used to have these double buckle belts. They had two whole loops in them, and they was real thick leather belts. And he used to take that belt off and he used to tear my ass up. He used to hit my brother and tear him up. And that following weekend, I remember my dad had came to pick me up. So I went out there, I went to the same sermon. You better not tell your daddy this, you better not tell your daddy that. But this time, I just got brave and just told my dad, what he'd been doing to us. So my dad, when my dad dropped me off, he wasn't there at the house. So my dad had ended up having some type of conversation with my mom about it. So out in Pasadena, up there, all everybody our parents used to meet up at the Keg, little hole in the wall bar up in Pasadena / Altadena. And my dad went up there and tried to kill him. So they had to stop my daddy from trying to kill him. So after that, the beatings had stopped. So I was happy that my dad protected me and my dad ran to my defense, Because I remember when it all started too, because when him and my mom got married, we had on white suits. And I wanted to play with my cousin so bad, man. And I couldn't play with him at the wedding because I had on this white suit. And he shook me up before the wedding even started. He told me if I got any smudge or any dirt on that suit, he was gonna beat the shit out of me. And my cousins used to always wonder why I wouldn't go play with him. And that was the reason why, because he had scared the shit out of me, that he was gonna beat my ass if I got that white suit dirty. So I just stayed in the corner and I just sat in the church. And I didn't even do shit. I didn't even play with my cousins. I watched them play. They was playing football. They was playing hide and go seek. They was just playing tag. They was having fun, and I missed out on all that fun because I couldn't get that white suit dirty. So fast forward, we was having Christmas at our house. And my mom, she invited all our family over, my grandma, all my uncles, all my cousins, all my aunties. The whole family was there at the house. So here he comes. He comes in the house drunk, like always, talking shit. See, because all the time, when I think about it, I think he could have been beating on my mom, but my mom would never say nothing. So yeah, I don't know. I guess he didn't like everybody being there at the house. So he got mad at my mama and he slapped my mama. So I remember my auntie jumping up, telling us, "Oh, you guys take y'all butts in the room. Go in the room. Go in the room. Go in the room. Y'all don't need to be seeing this." But see, my uncle Woogie, he was a Vietnam veteran, and he didn't like nobody touching his sisters. So I remember my uncle just smashing him in his face, picking him up over his head. We used to have a glass table in our living room, and he picked him up over his head and he threw him down in that glass table. And sooner than that, after that, my mom and him broke up. And from there, we had to move into the ghetto, move into the hood, where I was introduced to gang life and gang activity. And as I got older, it had a psychological effect on me. And as I kept getting older, I vowed to myself that I would never let nobody hurt me mentally or physically or verbally. So, you know, going through life with my mom, now she's a single parent. You know what I'm saying? I started going through the same abuse from her, to where, you know, it was belts, extension cords, getting hit in the head with black skillets, all kind of shit. I mean, you know, sometimes it was warranted because we was bad kids and we did a lot of bad shit that we didn't have no business doing. But some of the ass whoopings that we got was overextensive, too much. You know what I'm saying? Then it was just like, you know, my mom, she just didn't never tell us that she loved us when we was kids. You know, I grew up in a household where love didn't even exist, where we never told each other we loved each other or how we felt about each other. You know what I'm saying? Because we didn't know how to, we didn't know how to express ourselves in the household, because it was always a bunch of yelling and screaming and hollering and whooping. Yelling, screaming, hollering, whoopings. Yelling, screaming, hollering, whoopings. That's what we grew up on as kids. You know what I'm saying? And that shit had so much of a psychological effect on us, man. It just fucked us up as kids, man. You know what I'm saying? It pushed me and my older brother out into the streets more. You know what I'm saying? He was a lot older than me, so it pushed him out in the streets more too, to do shit, you know what I'm saying, that he didn't want to do. But it wasn't no love at home to keep him home. So he always went out in the streets, and he was older than me, so he can go places that I couldn't go. I just tried to follow him because I didn't want to be at home neither, to hear my mama yelling, screaming, hollering, cussing, yelling, telling us that we wasn't going to be shit, we wasn't going to be shit, we wasn't going to be nothing but just like our fathers. So he would run my ass home and make me go home. Boy, take your little ass home. And he used to run me home all the time. That's in my nose. And I'm glad my brother did that, though. You know what I'm saying? I love my brother. You know what I'm saying? Even though my brother ended up turning out to be a drug addict and living on the streets, but I still love him, though. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, that's still my brother. And I'm going to love him for the rest of his life. You know what I mean? Because that's just a choice and a decision that he made. So I don't knock him for a decision. I don't judge him for a decision. I reached out to try to help my brother, but my brother is in a state of mind to where, you know what I'm saying, he don't want to be helped. But, you know, I still love him, though. So when I fast forward in my life, I was living my life so treacherous, so dangerous, so evil. I was doing so much dirt out there in those streets, me and some of my homeboys. It was just crazy, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I was living in my life to where a point where I used to think that I wasn't going to live or be alive. So when I met my kid's mother, you know what I'm saying, we started having kids. You know what I'm saying? Because I wanted kids. Because I said if I do die, at least I'll leave my legacy behind. So I ended up having kids. And as they got older and they started doing stupid shit, doing bad shit and all that shit, I started finding myself doing the same shit. I started yelling at them, started cussing at them. I didn't down my kids. I didn't ever tell them they wasn't going to be shit or they wasn't going to mount this shit or nothing like that. But I used to get on their asses with about normal shit, you know, cleaning up their room, picking up their toys and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And I whooped my kids sometimes and smacked their asses and did that shit. But I didn't beat my kids, though. I whooped them when they needed to have their asses whooped. But had I been more smarter and mature, because I was a young parent in my early 20s when I had my kids. So being raised the way that I was raised, I basically took those traits of my abuse and I started passing that shit on to my kids. You know what I'm saying? I started passing that shit on to my wife. I started fighting with her, you know, fighting with everybody. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know, I guess I was too emotional, man. Words that I couldn't defend myself as a kid. As a big man now, I was able to defend myself from those words. Or, you know, fighting with dudes on the streets. You know what I'm saying? I was big enough now to knock their asses out. Put them on their ass, put them to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Because now I'm old enough and big enough to defend myself. And I stayed angry, man. I stayed angry for a long time. You know? I went through 3 years worth of anger management classes, which was 156 classes, which came into $2,060 total. You know what I'm saying? Over 10 years of fucking probation. And, you know, that shit didn't help because one thing that I noticed that it was an emotion of anger that I had built up in me as a child that I had to fix myself. You know what I'm saying? So as my kids got older, I wouldn't whoop them no more. You know, I wouldn't even yell at them no more. I would just talk to them, you know, and give them a piece of my mind and tell them how I felt and what I expected out of them. And, you know, they turned out to be good kids, though. You know what I mean? I mean, they was mad at me, too, though, because, you know what I'm saying, when me and their mom used to fight, you know what I'm saying, she used to hit me, too, though, you know what I'm saying? But me being a bigger person and being a bigger man, you know what I'm saying, I maybe had got the better of her sometimes, you know? So it's like, you know, there's days that she hit me and I didn't even hit her. And the police used to come to our house out in Rancho Cucamonga. And, you know, like the officer would say, you know what I'm saying, either I can take her to jail, take you to jail, you know what I'm saying? But shit, that's my kid's mama, man. Take me to jail. I don't give a fuck. You know, so I took the case, you know what I'm saying? I took the deal, you know, just so she wouldn't go to jail. That's just how I was, you know what I'm saying? Shit. You know, we loved each other and sometimes we just hated each other. You know, might have been the stupid shit that I was doing or it was stupid shit that she was doing. You know, nobody is perfect. And it fucked me up because, you know what I'm saying, it was like, you know, my kids were seeing the same shit that I was seeing. And I was letting history repeat itself. So in order for me to get rid of that history, I had to change myself to break that cycle of anger and verbal abuse, mental abuse, and physical abuse. So, you know, now I don't have that problem. You know what I'm saying? And then, like with my two younger children, they never got a whooping. You know what I'm saying? I'm probably like yelled at them a couple of times, but it wasn't nothing abusive or nothing that was out of character. But you know, one thing I can say about my father never whooped me. My father never put his hands on me. My father only yelled at me twice in my whole life. The first time my father ever yelled at me, we had stopped at one of his friend's house. And that's when he didn't know what was wrong with me. about me being abused by my stepdad. And he yelled at me, boy, get your motherfucking ass out that goddamn car and bring your ass in this motherfucking house. You know what I'm saying? So I got out and went in the house. And then another thing too, though, because back then my dad smoked a lot of weed, man. So I didn't like the way the contact in the house made me feel, because I had to sit in the house and watch TV while him and his friends smoked weed in the house. And it was just smoky in there, you know what I'm saying? I was inhaling that shit. And I used to always feel funny and shit and fall asleep and be hungry all the goddamn time. I guess that's why my mama used to call me garbage disposal when I was a kid, because I used to eat every goddamn thing in sight when I came home. I didn't care what it was. It smelled good, I was eating it. But then the second time my dad got mad at me was, what was I? I was in high school. I was going to Pasadena High School. I got suspended for fighting one of my friends. Rest in peace, Lamont. And that was the first time I ever raised my voice at my mom. I was talking back to my mama, because by that time I'm big, and I'm like, I used to tell her, you know what, mama, your hits don't even hurt me no more. I don't even know why you keep trying to hit me like that. That shit don't hurt. She hit me with pots, pants, whatever, extension cord, everything. That shit just didn't hurt no more. It had no effect on me. The pain was so numb that I didn't even care no more that she was hitting me. So she called my dad. My dad come up there with his little cool face. He put his hand over his face like this, and he was like, well, son, that's your mama, and you need to respect your mom. So I'm thinking, he just gonna say a little speech and he gonna go on about his business. That's my daddy, he cool. But that motherfucker grabbed me by my shirt and he said, nigga, I will fuck you up. I will beat your motherfucking ass if I find out you ever disrespect your mama again, nigga. I will fucking slam your ass and drag your ass up and down this motherfucking Garfield Street and beat your motherfucking ass if I ever find out you disrespected your mama again. Do you fucking hear me? And I'm scared of the motherfucker. I'm like, yeah, dad, okay. And that from that day on, I never disrespected my mama again, ever. You know what I'm saying? That shit was crazy, man. But I just wanted to share my story, man, because, child abuse is serious, you know what I'm saying? Even people that don't beat on their kids, you know what I'm saying? Even people that talk crazy to their kids. I see women all the time telling their kids, get the fuck out of my face. Go sit your motherfucking ass down somewhere. No, you need to give your kids the love and attention and affection that they need. You know what I'm saying? Don't abuse your kids. Don't beat on your kids. Talk to your kids. Teach your kids. Love your kids. Tell them you love them. You know what I'm saying? My mama didn't tell me she loved me until I was 24 years old. You know what I'm saying? My daddy, every time I talked to my dad told me he loved me. You know what I'm saying? That's why I can really respect him for that, because he told me that he loved me. And he showed it. He wasn't there all the time. You know what I'm saying? Because he wasn't in the household, and I understand that he had his own life to live as I grew older. But my dad always told me that he loved me, even to the day that he died in 2012. My dad told me that he loved me. You know what I'm saying? I told him I loved him back. You know what I'm saying? Even though as a childhood, I had a hard childhood, and I had to learn shit the hard way. And I had to learn how to love, or try to love. It was always hard and difficult for me, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I would push people away. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't understand or understand the meaning of love and what it meant. And it sure in the hell wasn't Valentine's Day. And it's more deeper than that. You know what I'm saying? To love, it's work. It ain't just about saying it, it's work. It's a lot of work to love someone or to even be in love with somebody, you have to really mean that shit and own up to that shit and do all the possibilities that you need to do when you use that word. So, you know, I'm thankful, you know, that I'm still here. I'm thankful that I'm still alive. You know, I'm thankful that, you know, some of my kids were mad at me. Some of them were mad at me. And the ones that wasn't mad at me, I'm thankful that they forgave me for all the shit that I put them through. You know, because I put my kids through a lot of shit, man. I just thank God that it didn't fuck with them psychologically and mentally, you know. And I'm glad that they overcame a lot of pain, you know, because their worst pain was their mother dying, you know, and that was painful for me, you know, because that was my sweetheart, you know, when we grew up as little kids. You know, we was very young kids when we met each other, you know. She was always there for me whenever I needed her. Even though if she was pissed off at me or she was mad at me, she always came to my rescue. She always looked out for me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we had a lot of good times and we had a lot of bad times. A lot of good times and a lot of bad times. So I can't really talk bad about her because I'm not gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, she's resting in peace. You know, she passed away 7 years ago, like 2 weeks later after my dad died. And she died from clogged arteries in her heart. You know what I'm saying? She was only 34 years old when she died. And, you know, that was the most biggest impact on my children's lives. It was something that it took them a long time to get over, especially for my oldest son, because he was a mama's boy and he stayed up under his mama's ass all day, every day. And when his mama died, he would just come in the house and come over my house, and he'd be in the house and he just wanted to be up under me. And I was just like, you know, damn, D, why you know, like that? He's just like, man, he told me, he said, Pops, I don't want to lose you. You know, so I'm afraid I'm going to lose you. And I'm like, son, I'm not going nowhere unless God permits me to go somewhere. So I told him I'd be here, you know, to watch him grow and to watch him be a man and to watch him succeed in life and to watch over him and make sure that I guide him in life and give him the best advice that I can give him. You know, as parents, even for young parents, you got to learn how to communicate with your kids. You got to learn how to talk to your kids. You got to appreciate the gift that you birthed and the gift that you made. You know, because if you don't, the downside of it is they're going to grow up to hate you. They're going to grow up to resent you. They're going to go somewhere else and they're going to look for that love that you're not giving them at home. So if you don't give them that love at home, they're going to run to them streets. And you know what them streets do. You know what's out there in them streets. Because a lot of these kids is running out there in them streets now. That's why you got so many parents burying their kids instead of their kids burying them. And on that note, I'm out. I have spoken. Peace out.